Hello, Internet, and welcome to episode 129er of Verbal Graffiti with your host, Brian Glass, a.k.a. the B-Man, the People's Degenerate. The meaning, the theme of episode 129er of Verbal Graffiti is purpose. The word of this episode is purpose. What is your purpose? All right, everybody take a knee. Everybody take a knee and listen to the B-Man, because I have something to spout out to you, and you all need to listen. All right, the purpose. What is your purpose? I am going to be honest with all 8 or 9 of you viewers and listeners right now. I do not know what is going on in the world, and I am proud of myself for not knowing what is happening in the world politically, economically. I have no fucking clue. I had a gathering with my family. You all know I am the youngest of 5. No children of my own, because no babes wanna, let me put my semen inside of them. We'll get to all those babes at another time. But right now, this is about you and me and my journey and your journey. And this is about our empires. We're building empires here at Verbal Graffiti. If you're watching right now, there's an empire that needs to be built that you're not working on. So turn off Verbal Graffiti, episode 129. Turn it off and watch it after you've worked on building your empire, whatever that empire may be. Now, I was with my family. Very loving family, love them all, very appreciative of all of them. Without their support, their love, their energy, the B-Man, I wouldn't be here right now. All right, none of this would exist. So thank you to the family. But we got to talk about me. All right, this is all about me, the B-Man. They were talking about tariffs, the price of eggs. War with Iran. I don't know. I vaguely know about these topics, but I am too busy working on what I'm trying to build, on this empire. I'm working on Verbal Graffiti. I'm working on stand-up comedy. I have a day job. Occasionally, I try to get laid. Friendships, my health, my body. I drink milk. I just started drinking milk a month ago. That's a big step for the B-Man, the People's Degenerate. What I'm getting at here is there is a minimal time in the day where I can really delve into what is going on geopolitically. Tariffs, I hear everyone saying this country has 75% tariffs, and China, Trump is putting 120% tariff on China. Well, guess what? Right? I don't know the leader. Who's the president of China? I don't know. Do tariffs work? I don't know. I grew up in school. I was taught free trade. Everyone talked about free trade. I assumed that free trade is the best way. Now, someone comes along, President Trump, he says, no, we're going to put tariffs on everybody. I don't know. Price of eggs, $8. Okay. That's a thing. I don't know how to make them $4 again. I don't know how to do that. I cannot concern myself with things I have no control over. It's why I don't give a fuck about space. Those 5 ladies, Katy Perry went to space. I don't know, Elon Musk is, giving the Nazi salute to fucking crowds. I know there are bombs being blown off. There are things going on in Gaza. Do not know. It's not that I don't care, because I do care about my fellow human being, but I am focused on this. When you focus on your empire, you should not have enough time in the day to be able to study tariffs and have an opinion on every policy and every DEI. How can you be? You talk about DEI and then tariffs in the next breath, and then the price of eggs, and then what's going on in your state legislature. Guess what? Our state attorney general, same thing as the president of China. Don't know his name. Don't know who any of the state attorney generals are, vaguely know who our governor is, and I only know our governor, Ned Lamont, because he walked out on me doing stand-up at Christopher Martin's a few years ago. So fuck that guy. I don't really care about whatever side of the aisle he's on. I'm getting on this right now. All right? If you're concerning yourself with things that are out of your control, you're wasting you only have so much energy and you're wasting it. Don't waste it on those problems, because there's no way. If you know how to fix it, call the White House. All right? Call 1-800-WHITE-HOUSE, propose a solution, write a dissertation, send it to your legislator, and get it to the White House. Everybody else, which I assume is most of us, work on your empire. Oh, Adolescence. Did you watch Adolescence on Netflix? What are your thoughts on that 4-part miniseries? Oh, B-Man, I don't know, because I didn't watch Adolescence because I'm too busy doing stand-up at night. And I'm not saying this to complain or even to brag. I'm just saying it because it's the truth. I'm not watching that. Like, I don't have time for adolescence. All right. I went through my adolescence. I survived my adolescence. Good luck to everyone going through it right now. Life kind of sucks after adolescence. So just enjoy it while you can. I don't know. That's stabbings. Oh, what are you stabbing? Adolescence. What about White Lotus? It's not that I don't give a fuck. It's just that I don't have any fucks to give to whatever problem or whatever show that you're watching. It's verbal graffiti. For me, it's verbal graffiti. It's stand-up comedy. For you, it might be, I don't know, you're trying to become an archery, right? I don't know, you're trying to become a gymnast. You're trying to create I don't know what it is you're doing. But if you're talking about adolescence, if you're going to work tomorrow morning talking about adolescence or complaining about a tariff, like you knew what a tariff was, like unless your degree is in economy or exports and imports, unless you work down at the docks in Baltimore, down in the wire, I don't want to hear your take on tariffs. And if you start talking tariffs with me, I'm just going to glaze over till you stop talking. And then when you're talking about tariffs to the B-Man, all I'm thinking about is funny. How can what's a topic I could talk about in verbal graffiti? What's a dick joke I could say on stage in front of strangers? That is it's almost like that movie Biodome. I'm putting a Biodome. Or what's it, Israel? They have the defense, what do you call it? Like the defense balloon where missiles can't come into Israel because they have that defense. That's what I've done. I'm working on this empire, my empire. Now it's not pyramids. It's not Genghis Khan. I'm not taking over Europe. There's no Nazism here at Verbal Graffiti. We are doing it within our borders, within our sphere, within our biosphere that I imaginary am creating. And you should be doing the same. All right. So get fired up. All that outside things that are affecting the world, they may. And they most certainly are affecting the world. But that's not your world. Your world is what you can feel, what you can touch, what you can create. And a tariff and adolescence on Netflix and the price of eggs and deportations. Dude, if you're a citizen, who gives a fuck about deportations? All right? Build an empire so big that there's nowhere to get deported to. That should be the goal. That is the objective. So enough of this. I'm so sick of current events are distraction. Work on your empire. Build it brick by brick by brick. All right, 41 subscribers, 42 subscribers, 43 subscribers. Episode 129. Fuck everybody else. If whatever we're doing is not advancing the creation, the molding, the scaffolding of my empire, get the fuck out of my way. And everybody else is getting the fuck out of your way. This is one lane to the top, become a 1%er, or in the case of verbal graffiti, a top 90. You don't want to be in the bottom 2%. Be in the top 98%. That's what we're trying to get. We're trying to get out of the gutter here. So, all right, boys, gals, get out there. Make it happen. Moving along. All right, this is a very, it's a photo. Comes from the subreddit Foot Sniffing. Would you sniff my stink foot after gym? And here is the photo of this lovely floozy right here. How about that for a transition? 10 minutes telling you about building an empire, scaffolding, one layer at a time. I go from that to immediately talking about a babe wanting us to smell her foot. What? The internet. We're cowboys here on the internet, in this weird part of the internet. Would I sniff? Sorry, what was it? Would it sniff your foot or lick your foot? Would you sniff my stink foot after a gym? Yeah, to be man, I would. If you made the proposal to the B-man, you go to Pilates classes and you come home, you take your socks off and you go, hey, take a whiff of my feet, I would. But again, I am foot, what's the word? Ambivalent? Yeah, I'm foot ambivalent. I'm neither pro nor negative. Now, you do need to know, and this is a forewarning to all you babes out there who are groupies of verbal graffiti. If you stick your foot out and you ask me to sniff it post-workout, do know that I do not half foot anything in my life. If you're building empires, you don't half foot anything. So if you want me to sniff your foot when it's all sweaty post-workout, do know that sniffing is not all that the B-man is going to do to your feet. I am also going to lick them, and I also am going to leave sticky substances atop your foot. And now that's me, because I go all the way. Or if you're going to go to Pilates class or go to yoga or go to a CrossFit, you come home to my studio apartment and you contort yourself into a pretzel and then you waggle your toes at me. Yes, I am going to suck your big toe. And I want to get this disclaimer out of the way as well. Now, I did say I am foot ambivalent, but I do have strong opinions when it comes to the opposite sex and their feet. Now, I am okay with feet, mangled feet. If you're a Chinese lady and that thing where they tie your feet up so they're all like crunchy, I'm cool with that. I'll fuck with your feet. The one thing I will not fuck with though, if you have a second toe that is longer than the big toe, I can't fuck with that. The B-man, I cannot fuck with that. I will not fuck with your mutated genetics. I cannot spread my genetic offspring with yours to a child and possibly give our child a longer second toe than big toe. That is a mutation I am not willing to pass on with our genes. So do not be asking me to sniff, suck, kiss, cuddle with if you have a second toe that is longer than your first one. And also shave your feet as well if you have hair on your feet. But the odd thing about your feet, or the foot that you're showing us right here, is that it's clean. Does that make sense to all of you? Even though it might stink, it's a clean foot. When I look at the bottom of it, there's no dirt, there's no roughness. It's clear that you take care of your feet. So that is a foot that I would engage with. I would nuzzle my nose and give you. I'd do that to your foot and sniff it. No problem. There would be no hesitation for me to be a man to do that. If your feet were dirty though, and when I say dirty, if there was actual dirt on the bottom of it and you had calluses and bunions sticking out, I would still, I would do it to appease you, but only because I'm a lover. Right? I wouldn't do it out of personal enjoyment. I do it because I love you, and you got some kind of foot kink, and I'm willing to appease that for you. But a clean foot like that, even though it's stinky, yeah, I'd snip it. I'd snip it. And again, I'm foot ambivalent, so I'm okay. Like I don't get grossed out by feet, but I've never paid for foot photos. I've never watched smut where a guy's wiener is being stroked by like in between a lady's 2 feet. As soon as I see that, it's like, all right, moving to the next scene or to another video. Like I've never winked myself off to that. Again, no, I do not judge any of you out there who have that kind of kink. Like, good for you. It ain't for me, but hey, if that's what gets you off, hawk your dick loogie to it. Was there something I just, and the last thing I'll say about feet is just feet in general, not like relationship feet. The only type of feet that perturb me are feet that stink when you have your sneakers on, when you're in public transit or you're working and somebody has it's usually a fat guy who looks like just a cheese doodle of a man who has a 5-year-old worn out New Balance sneakers with gray socks, and the smell of his feet, the odor emanates, and you can smell it like from the desk next to you, dude. This ain't 1600. All right, we have showers, we have body wash. There's no excuse for having stinky feet out on a normal day, like not the right post workout. So if that is the case, if you're one of those people out there with stinky feet, just because you have bad hygiene practices, your punishment is you should have to. Remember the movie Gattaca, where Ethan Hawke had to go into that chamber every morning and rub all his dead skin cells off for like an hour before he went about his day? If you have stinky feet, bad hygiene, that is what you just have to do. Go in that chamber and scrub all the dead skin cells off of you. But if you're a cutie patootie doing Pilates and you come dangling your toes at me like it's a mistletoe, yeah, I'll sniff it. I'm a lover. Be man. What can I say? All right, let's go look at some photos. There are times throughout the day, many times, when you reflect and you diagnose yourself as a weirdo, as an oddity, as an outcast of society, that is. And then you don't have a conversation. This is all about me. Why am I trying to bounce whatever's going on with the B-man and put it on you? This is all about me, right? I think I'm a weirdo. I think I'm an oddity, that I don't fit into society, that I am the puzzle piece that it just, you gotta pound it. You gotta pound it with a hammer and ruin the piece to fit it in. That's who I am, or so I thought. Now, I was going to say that, well, I had a conversation. No. I listened. I didn't. I asked. I probe. I don't have conversations. Again, I am using people for my amusement. And a few nights ago, there's a. How would I describe this gentleman? No. Is he a gentleman? No. He's a pervert. This guy, bona fide pervert. He's into. What's he? I call it. What was that? I had a term. There was an incognito porn. Oh, no, peekaboo porn. He's into peekaboo porn. And that is a term I made up. Peekaboo porn. There is this genre of pornography where there's nudity like through the reflection. So if you have a pot or a kettle on your stovetop, and you see like a naked lady through the reflection, like there's a photo, and through the reflection you see a naked, like a little naked lady through the reflection. That's what this guy was into, and he was into there are these ladies on like Instagram. You're not allowed to show nipple. They are anti-nipple on Instagram. But if a lady, there are these models who really quickly show their nipple and they get away with it. So I call like, that was kind of some of the smut he was into. So I call that peekaboo porn. When it's porn that you don't see, like if you don't know what you're looking at, like it's there. Like that's peekaboo porn. Oh wow, through the reflection of the kettle. Anyway, and I knew this about his past. Right? We've spoken in the past. I do not call him a friend. This pervert, I do not call a friend. I have no animosity towards this pervert. It's just that I can't call you a friend until we've both been naked together. When you've seen Mr. Perfect and I've seen your piece, then I feel comfortable calling you a friend. I have not seen this this pervert naked. He has not seen me naked. Therefore, he's not a friend. He's merely an acquaintance that he's interesting. He's interesting. I knew he was engaged, hadn't seen him. I don't know if I've seen him yet this year, 2025. Anyways, I saw him a few nights ago. I was out doing stand-up, as I always am, and I was talking to him about his lady. I go, hey, are you married? What's going on with that guy? Because he had the ring on. I go, or sorry, the wedding ring. I go, yep, got married. Oh, when was that? And he goes, Valentine's Day. We got married on Valentine's Day. And I know this guy, he's a weirdo. He sometimes I'm a weirdo. When you talk to a pervert like this guy I talk to, it makes me feel adequate as a man, as a person, as a member, upstanding citizen in this community that is the United States of America, or more specifically, Connecticut, New Haven County. And for some reason, anybody else, I would go, you married, oh, nice. Where did you go on a honeymoon? Or are you going on a honeymoon? How was the ceremony? But for some reason, this guy's an oddball. So this is the question I posed to this pervert who got married on Valentine's Day 2025. I asked him directly, first question after he told me he got married. I go, oh, do you live with her? Very odd question. Well, that is an odd question to ask someone who's newlywed, honeymoon stage. Are you living with your wife? For some reason, I had to confirm that they live together. His answer, no, not yet. What a funny answer. What a funny answer. And there were a couple of people, I think we were just hanging out in a group, chopping it up after doing stand-up. And everyone's kind of turning, what? You got married Valentine's Day, and you're still not living together with your wife? It piqued everybody's interest. And he goes, yeah, I hope it works out. I hope when we live together, we liked each other. And then there was a babe there who goes, well, I fucking certainly hope you do enjoy living with her because you're married. And it was amusing to me that this guy got married and I was able to just get right to it and got the confirmation that he's not living with his wife. Now, I personally, we were talking a little bit more, and I didn't know that was possible, and I'm jealous of him. I am actually pro. I want to get married now. The B-man, I want to propose, get down on my knee, give my life, my soul to a mate, knowing that I don't have to live with her. That is always, isn't that the dream? That's got to be the dream. Is that the dream of living in separate bedrooms? I always thought that would be an ideal arrangement for the B-man, but my dream arrangement is to have my wife, my partner, my lover live nearby. I'm not even talking, I don't even want her on the same, I want her within walking distance of my residence. I don't want her on the same street because I don't want to always have to see her doing yard work and all that. I want her around the corner. That's where I want my wife living, within a quarter mile, so she can walk there even during a snowstorm. But walk there on a 90-degree day, but not, get swamp ass and everything on the walk over to my place, because I'm a lazy fuck. She'll be walking to me. But I didn't know that there are actually married couples that do this. So now I'm encouraged. I am pro lovey-dovey getting married. This is the fact that Like, this is proof. This pervert acquaintance of mine proved that you can get married and not reside in under the same roof. And never mind just same roof, different bedrooms, but actually different households. So thank you to my pervert acquaintance for that amusing conversation. I do hope you do enjoy living with your newlywed spouse whenever you two decide to move in together. But me, my future wife, we will not. Or in my dream world, I should say, will not be living together. Just down the street, around the corner. Love you. See you tomorrow. All right, moving along. Found this. What a weirdo that guy is. I wish I could show a photo of him. I don't have one, but he looks. He looks like he's not a threat. Like if you were just walking down the street, you wouldn't. There'd be no looking down, but he's harmless. He's a harmless weirdo. And those are the best kind. The weirdos who pull out the knife or the object and start trying to bang people on the head. He's not that kind of weirdo. He's just a harmless, you get to know him and you learn how others live. It's that kind of weirdo. All right, enough about him. Let's get on to someone we're trying to help on Reddit. Comes from the subreddit Zero Waste. Where can I donate well-worn shoes? ? I'm having trouble finding a sort of donation center that will accept well-worn shoes. I have 100 pairs of decently worn shoes accumulated over 2 decades. These shoes range from rarely worn, but likely 20 years old, to kind of battered, but still usable for those who really need it, to kind of worn, but totally reusable secondhand. So, none of them are like new or gently used, which is what I've found on all these donation centers require, like shoe recycling programs and local churches. I can't for the life of me find a in-between for these kind of places that require like new, gently used shoes versus just throwing them in the trash and these shoes end up in a landfill. I really hate to completely waste these shoes as I know they can get a second life somewhere. I think all these shoes can either be used second-handed or refurbished for a second life to someone who really needs them. And I really want to actually donate them and not just give them to someone like Goodwill to sell for a profit. Does anyone have any suggestions? Yeah, I do. I have some suggestions for you. And I think what you're doing, actually, no. I know what you're doing or what you're attempting to do is admirable. Again, I don't want your shoes, your hundreds of shoes that you've collected over 2 decades that get thrown in the ocean or into space and cause ruin the environment. So we're going to help you out here. And a tip of my penis to you for trying to look out for the environment. You need to be proactive. Like you said, you give it to Goodwill, they're going to upcharge you. They're going to take them and then upcharge you and make a profit, and you're getting none of it. All proactive. All right. Take your Mazda 3. All right. Take your Mazda. Take the hundreds of pairs of shoes. Throw them in the trunk. Take a foldable table. Put it in the back seat, and on a Saturday morning, drive to the closest city center near where you live. So go to Main Street or a major park where there's a lot of foot traffic, 8 a.m. Saturday morning, put a pop-up shop. You put your table out, you put all the shoes, all the brand new, the faded ones, you put them up and you just have a pop-up shop and you sell them like it's a flea market until the cops come and ransack you and shut you down. And they probably won't because you're probably an old bag lady just trying to sell off some sneakers. This is going to be fun. It's going to be enlightening. It's going to It's going to make you a better person, a more well-rounded person, I should say. I will say. It will turn you into a more well-rounded person because you'll see better than selling them online or giving them the goodwill. When you're selling them yourself on a street corner as people walk by, you're going to have conversations. And the type of person who buys a secondhand shoe, that's a weirdo. Right? That's an oddity. That's a person that when you get into a conversation is going to be kind of like my pervert friend. Like you're gonna learn how some of the weirdos live because it's the weirdos that wear used secondhand foot like sneakers. Those are weirdos. So it's going to be fun, and you can barter, and you can what is it? You can go back and forth with the price. You can bargain with them, or they can bargain with you. And you know what? The fun thing about having a pop-up shop with your own, all your shoes that you have, is that you can give context to the shoes that you are selling. Okay, when someone pulls up or picks up a pair of those ugly mustard 1-inch heel shoes that you have, and the patron, the person interested, hey, what's the deal with these? Like, when did you wear these? And then you could tell them, oh, well, actually, I wore those ugly mustard heels at my third cousin's wedding in 1998. But they got divorced because he cheated on my cousin. And then I had to go to the cousin's second wedding in 2004. And I wore these platform sneakers to that wedding. But they kind of, like I was dancing and they got cracked. So I had to super glue the sole back on. And you see those. And then someone else comes up and there's a pair of flats and there's a little bit of blood on them. I go, is that a blood? Like these flats are beautiful, but right here on the side, there's a remnants of some blood. What's that all about? I go, oh, well, actually, my daughter, at the night of her junior prom, they were going to an after party, and she died in a DUI accident. She was a driver. She was the one drunk. And those were the flats that she was wearing to the prom, and she was driving, so the blood was a consequence of the accident that killed her. That's why I'm trying to sell them off. And then you can just, every pair of shoes, like, you don't even know it, but when you start selling them on the street, like, they all have a story to them. They all have a history, and it will warm your soul telling the story about how your daughter died at junior prom and how your cousin got cheated on in the late 90s. I mean, who didn't get cheated on in the late 90s? And it's down, you're literally walking down memory lane. And again, you can barter with these people, so maybe you don't get money. Right? If you're selling secondhand shoes that you've worn for the past 20 years, you're probably going to walk away from that pop-up shop with a couple of stray cats. They just go together. Selling used sneakers, stray cats. The buyers will get the sneakers. You'll end up with a cat that you didn't really want, but they end up in your house. You start feeding it, and then its house worn in. So that's one way. And that's one way you can go about it. And then the shoes that don't get sold at the pop-up shop, you can... All right, so the next weekend, get a shopping cart and take your shoes and walk around the worst part of town. And just go to all the bums, all the hobos living in tents. You knock on their tent, you wave the tent door, and you, hey, any of these shoes good? Do you want any? And there's anything that hobos and street bums know, it's footwear. So they need shoes. So you're doing good for them, and they get some footwear out of it. So it's a win-win in that situation. So you get wear your shoes that way. And then the following weekend, with the shoes you have remaining, you have it. Those are probably the ugliest. Those are, the 6-inch stilettos, but only one has the stiletto and the other one's a flat, so no one wants to buy them. So the pair of shoes that nobody wants, you put on Facebook Marketplace, but you make it a scavenger hunt. You tell everybody, hey, these stilettos, right in the bottom of them, I have an 8-ball, a cocaine, and fentanyl. And if you want it, here are some clues, and you make a scavenger hunt. But it's similar to Pokemon Go, but it's much more fun. So you have people in your community going out with a shovel and looking for the largest oak tree in the town. So you get rid of your shoes through a scavenger hunt. And lastly, with the shoes you have remaining of your hundreds after a month of all these different avenues I've given you here, and you're welcome, take all the remaining shoes, tie them together, throw some paint on them, take a blowtorch and like mold them together and call it modern art. All right, you do this, probably, if you give it to the Museum of Modern Art, MoMA, New York City, they'll actually probably pay you money and make a display of it because that's how terrible modern art is today. They'll actually think it's real art. So there you go. There's 4 avenues for you. Pop-up shop, give it to the hobos, bums, Facebook Marketplace, scavenger hunt with drugs, and make art out of it. You're welcome. Thank you for helping save the environment and loving shoes. All right, let's continue reading A Salesman's Wife by John Lawrence. We are on the top of page 131. We will read 2 pages together aloud. Alan shifted nervously from one foot to the other as she talked. Although he wanted to see his wife immediately, Mavis's words made sense to him. He didn't want to do something he'd be sorry for later. Still, he suspected there was something fishy going on. How do I know what you're telling me isn't a bunch of crap? He asked finally. I can't prove anything to you, Mr. Burns, but Dr. Carlsberg is a qualified psychologist with a degree from the state university. If you did interrupt a session, we could take police action, you know. I'm sure you wouldn't want your wife involved in anything sordid like that, would you? No, he mumbled. I guess not. She'll be finished in a while, she went on. Until then, why don't you let me explain some of our techniques so you can know what is happening? Did your wife tell you about these sessions? Well, no, he said. I've been away for a few days. She did it on her own. All the more reason not to disturb her, she replied. Most likely she wanted to please you with her efforts, and she felt you were angry about it. She might be shocked or permanently traumatized. Do you understand? Yeah, I guess so. Good. Now follow me and I'll tell you more about our operations. I'm Mavis Carlsberg, the doctor's wife. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. She opened the sliding door to the left to the entrance hall, revealing a comfortably furnished living room similar to the one upstairs. She motioned for him to follow her and led him inside. Sit down, she said. I'll mix you a drink. Thanks, he replied, settling into the comfortable plush sofa in dark green velvet. Nice place. Thank you, she said as she poured a strong shot of scotch into an ice-filled glass. We try to make it as pleasant as possible for our patients. Turning her back on Alan for a moment, she opened a drawer and withdrew a vial containing the same white powder that her husband had been putting into Pamela's wine. Deftly, so that the young husband didn't notice, she slipped some grains into the drink and let them dissolve. This should quiet him down considerably, she thought, and then, perhaps, I'll give him a little of the therapy myself. That way, he won't be so eager to interrupt Justin's session. Go suck a fat one.